Humans bleed on purpose and become harder to kill. That sentence should not exist. Our science rejected it. Our teachers erased it. I watched it happen anyway. My name cannot be spoken by human mouths. Their lungs are too heavy. Their tongues move too slowly. I was a third cycle student at the Galactic Combat Institute. The Academy accepted hundreds of species. Only one human. That alone made no sense. Humans came from a world that crushed bones. Their oceans swallowed cities. Their storms carried lightning strong enough to split mountains. Every lesson said they should have gone extinct before building fire. Instead, they crossed the stars. Nobody explained how. I decided they cheated. That seemed logical. The human arrived late on the first day. She carried no weapons, no armor, no escort, just a small pack hanging from one shoulder. The entire lecture hall became silent. Not because of fear, because of disappointment. She looked tiny, fragile, soft. Several students laughed. I laughed too. Deathworld myths always sounded larger than reality. Our instructor activated the gravity scanner. Colored lights spread across every student. Blue, green, yellow, then the human. Red. Every alarm inside the classroom screamed. Someone shouted, "Sensor failure." The instructor recalibrated. Still red. He recalibrated again. Still red. His hands began shaking. I reached the only reasonable conclusion. The machine feared humans because it had poor programming. Machines made mistakes. That explanation satisfied me. The human looked embarrassed. Why? Dangerous creatures celebrated strength. She apologized. "I think your scanner is fine." Nobody believed her. Neither did I. The next lesson covered instinctive threat detection. Each species entered the simulation chamber. Artificial predators appeared. Our instincts reacted automatically. The goal was simple. Measure fear. Measure response. Measure survival. When my turn came, I froze for 3 seconds. Average. Respectable. Others did better. Some did worse. Then the human entered. The chamber became completely dark. No predator appeared. Everyone frowned. The instructor checked the controls. Everything worked perfectly. Then the emergency system shut the simulation down. Automatically. No explanation. Again, I found the obvious answer. Human technology probably interfered with ours. Primitive species always caused technical problems. The instructor looked pale. He canceled class. Rumors spread before sunset. Some students claimed the simulation AI refused to attack the human. Impossible. Artificial intelligence followed programming. It could not feel fear. Fear belonged to living things. At least, that was what I believed. Until Training Hall 9. Combat demonstrations attracted every student. Elite warriors visited weekly. Today's guest was different. An apex predator. Not a title. A species. Entire civilizations surrendered after seeing one. Their bodies stretched nearly 4 meters high. Black armor covered living muscle. 4 arms. 8 eyes. Bones growing outside the skin. Every movement promised death. Its species hunted for pleasure. Even instructors avoided looking directly at it. The hall became silent. The apex smiled. That terrified everyone. Predators smiled before feeding. The instructor introduced the demonstration. No combat today. Relief spread across the audience. Then the apex interrupted. I smell a Deathworlder. Its voice vibrated through my bones. The human looked up from a notebook. She raised one hand politely. I guess that's me. Students shifted away from her. Entire rows emptied within seconds. She sighed. Not fear. Annoyance. I'm misunderstood immediately. Clearly she accepted death. Primitive creatures often surrendered calmly. The apex stepped closer. I have hunted 17 Deathworld species. The human nodded. Okay. No challenge. No anger. Just, okay. That confused me. Predators should answer dominance with dominance. She did not. Therefore, she lacked survival instincts. I wrote that observation into my notes. The apex circled her. Every sensor in the room flashed warnings. Heart rates exploded. Stress hormones filled the air. Mine doubled. The human stayed almost unchanged. Impossible. Perhaps humans failed to recognize danger. Yes, that explained everything. Their senses must be defective. The apex lowered one massive claw. I could remove your head before your nerves noticed. The human blinked. Probably. Several students gasped. I concluded humans had poor hearing. She must not have understood the threat. Otherwise, nobody could remain so calm. The instructor finally intervened. This academy forbids lethal engagement. The apex laughed. So your rules protect her. The human finally stood. She stretched slowly. A terrible mistake. Stretching exposed vulnerable muscles. Predators attacked weakness. She even yawned. I almost pitted her. The apex leaned closer. I expected more. So did I, she answered quietly. Again, wrong response. She should beg, run, hide. Every survival model agreed. Instead, she asked something absurd. What happens if I say no? The apex smiled wider. You become prey. The human scratched the back of her neck. I was afraid you'd say that. Afraid? No. Her heartbeat remained steady. Humans lied constantly. Another useful observation. The instructors activated security barriers. Energy walls surrounded the arena. Nobody understood why. There was no scheduled fight. Then every exit locked. Emergency lights turned crimson. An automated voice echoed through the hall. Biological aggression threshold exceeded. Students panicked. I calculated escape routes. None existed. The apex's muscles expanded. Its claws unfolded. Combat mode. The human removed something from her pocket. A small white strip. She wrapped it around one hand. Ridiculous. One thin piece of fabric against an apex predator. I almost laughed. Then I noticed something. The instructors were not watching the apex anymore. Every one of them watched. The human. Fear spread across their faces. Not concern. Not curiosity. Fear. I rejected the evidence. They feared the predator. Obviously. My conclusion remained correct. It had to. The human looked toward the audience. Her eyes searched every terrified face. Then she smiled. Not proudly. Not confidently. Sadly. I really hoped today would stay boring. Those words made no sense. Nothing about this situation was boring. The apex charged. It crossed 20 meters faster than sound. Students screamed. I closed two of my 4 eyes. Nobody could survive that impact. Nobody. Then I heard the sound. Not bones breaking. Not flesh tearing. A single step. One human step. And somehow, the apex predator disappeared from where it should have been. The apex did not vanish. My eyes failed. That was the only explanation. Every recording drone turned in different directions. None tracked the human. None tracked the predator. The arena became a puzzle. Then the apex crashed into the eastern barrier. The wall shook. The building shook. My skeleton hurt. The human still stood where she had started. Impossible. Distance cannot fold. Mass could not teleport. I concluded the barrier had reflected the predator. That made perfect sense. Until the replay. There was no reflection. There was only empty space. The human lowered her wrapped hand. Blood dripped onto the floor. Tiny drops. Bright red. The apex stared at her. Confused. I understood that feeling. Confusion spread through every student. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The predator touched its own jaw. A crack stretched across its armored face. One strike. One crack. That violated every known combat model. The apex laughed. Good. It still believed itself superior. So did I. Luck existed. Humans survived by luck. That was my next conclusion. The predator rushed again. Faster. Lower. Smarter. For claws attacked from different angles. No creature could read them all. The human moved anyway. Not quickly. Not dramatically. Just enough. She slipped between death as though death had made room. Claws carved the floor. Metal screamed. The human's shoulder opened. Blood splashed again. She looked down. Oh, that was all. No panic. No retreat. I decided humans did not feel pain. That explained everything. She grabbed the predator's wrist. Not with rage. With purpose. The apex twisted. Bones should have shattered. Instead, the human refused to let go. Muscles stretched. Skin tore. She held on. Why? Releasing would reduce injury. Every survival instinct demanded escape. Humans ignored survival. I wrote that into my notes. The page shook in my hands. The predator slammed her into the ground. The impact echoed through the academy. Dust exploded upward. Students cried out. When the dust settled, she was still there, slowly standing. Her arm hung strangely. Broken. It had to be broken. She looked at it. Pulled. There was a sickening pop. The arm straightened. She flexed her fingers. Better. Several students fainted. I almost joined them. Broken limbs did not become useful because someone pulled on them. Biology rejected such nonsense. The apex hesitated. For the first time, predators never hesitated. The instructor whispered something I barely heard. She's adapting? Adapting? To being injured? That was absurd. Injury reduced performance. Everyone knew that. The human rolled her shoulders. She was breathing harder now. Sweat covered her face. She looked tired. Finally, something normal. The apex saw it too. It smiled again. It charged with absolute confidence. This attack was perfect. No escape. No opening. No weakness. Even I could see that. The human smiled. Why? Had she accepted death? Again? Humans accepted death far too often. The predator reached her. Its claws closed. The human did something I will never understand. She stepped closer. Closer. Not away. Toward the killing blow. Every student screamed. She disappeared beneath the predator's arms. Then both of them froze. Silence. Complete silence. The apex looked down. Its 8 eyes widened. Slowly, very slowly, it knelt. Blood poured from beneath its armor. Not much. Just enough. The human stepped backward. Empty-handed. No weapon. No blade. Nothing. The predator collapsed. The arena trembled. Nobody celebrated. Nobody understood. Medical drones surrounded the human. She waved them away. I'm fine. She was not fine. Her skin was torn. Her arm was swelling. One eye had closed. She could barely stand. Yet she remained standing. The apex did not. The instructor approached carefully, as though walking toward an active volcano. Ow! The human looked genuinely surprised. You told us where everything important was. Nobody had. The instructor blinked. When? Every lesson. Silence returned. She pointed toward the fallen predator. Big muscles. She pointed at herself. Smaller target. She pointed at her own head. They expect fear. Then at the predator. They stop thinking when they don't find it. I rejected her explanation. Combat could not be that simple. There had to be hidden technology. Hidden implants. Secret weapons. Humans cheated. They always cheated. That answer comforted me. Until the investigation ended. There were no implants. No enhancements. No hidden equipment. Only scars. Hundreds of scars. Old burns. Old fractures. Old bite marks. Old surgery lines. The academy physicians looked horrified. One whispered, "How is she alive?" Another answered softly, "They call this growing up." I refused to believe it. No child survived that much damage. The human overheard. She laughed. "You should see my brother." Students stared. She wasn't joking. That frightened me more than the fight. Days passed. The apex survived. Barely. It requested to meet the human. Everyone expected revenge. Security surrounded the room. I watched through reinforced glass. The predator lowered all 4 arms. A surrender posture. To a human. I judged your species incorrectly. The human shook her head. No, you defeated me. I survived you. Those words echoed inside me. Not victory. Survival. I finally noticed the pattern that had always been there. Humans never fought to prove strength. Humans never fought to dominate. Humans never fought because they believed they could not lose. They fought because something inside them refused to stop. I had misunderstood every moment. The calm, the jokes, the stretching, the sighs. They were never signs of ignorance. They were rituals, ways of controlling fear. Humans felt fear. They simply carried it with them, then walked forward anyway. Weeks later, I found the human alone outside the academy. She sat watching 2 stars set together. I gathered enough courage to ask one question. Were you certain you would survive? She looked at me for a long time. Then she smiled. No. Then why fight? She was quiet. I didn't want anyone behind me to have to. That answer destroyed every theory I had ever built. I had believed humans ignored survival. I had been completely wrong. They valued survival more than any species I had ever known, just not always their own. Our records still describe humans as irrational. Our scientists still search for impossible mutations. Our military still studies impossible endurance. They continue asking the wrong question. They ask how humans survive. I know the answer now. Humans survive because they decide someone else should. And somehow, reality obeys them. We once claimed humans bleed on purpose and become harder to kill. After watching one stand between death and strangers, I finally understood. Humans bleed on purpose so someone else doesn't have to. Humans survive because they decide someone else should. That was the answer our greatest scientists never found. We once believed humans bled on purpose because they were too stubborn to die. Now I know the truth. Humans bleed on purpose so someone else doesn't have to. And that is why every species in the galaxy fears them and respects them. If you enjoyed this HFY sci-fi story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another incredible human story from across the galaxy. Tell us in the comments, would you stand beside a death world human or run? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.